What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Geek Cypher here on Free X Agents Media. If you're watching us on YouTube, that's youtube.com/@FXA Media. If you're watching us on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Geek Cypher. And if you don't know how to spell the name by now, GEEKCYPHA. Let's go. It has been a crazy week for blurs. And I don't say nerds. I say blurs because it's specific to us. I've seen some people. It is very specific to us, though. Very specific to us. I saw. I'll start off real quick. I saw Vlad on Twitter attacking this Princeton professor who said to him, like, "Hey, not that you can't talk on this, but this is a predominantly black-focused conversation."
This one out, yeah.
Especially because there's a lot of a big part of the conversation is touching on colorism as well. And Vlad got pissed and started tagging Princeton in replies to her, trying to be like, "Oh, is this how Princeton is hiring teachers?" Like putting her on blast. And then when it flipped on him, where people started calling him out for being like, "Why are you trying to get this black woman fired?" Mm-hmm. He was just like, "Oh, we were just trolling each other." And her reply was her reply
definitely was not.
Yeah, her reply was just like, "Oh, we are not trolling each other. I told you not to speak on black things, and you tried to get me fired." And it was very, very interesting. So,
and I hope he's finally the hell out of here.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen. There's too many people that, for some reason, let this man do everything he wants to do. Which
Can we speak to those people? Can we speak to them and just be like,
"He's the FBI. He's the NSA.
I mean,
the police."
You just. Skate, feel free to speak to these people because I do not understand. Every time I hear a story about Vlad or people being like, "Oh, someone got canceled or someone got caught up or someone got because Vlad had them on a show and they spilt the tea on everything they were doing illegally," and I'm always just like, why are y'all going on this show if multiple people?
But don't people do that when they go on what's his name?
Shay Shay?
No. Well, that's one, but no. Older one. Frizzy hair, shades.
Rogan? No, I'm kidding. Frizzy hair, shades. Hold on, it's gonna bother me.
Shock Jock.
Howard Stern.
Yeah, Howard Stern. People have been out just opening up on Howard Stern all the time and getting in trouble there.
Well, the only feds don't pay attention to Howard to try and incriminate black people like they would do.
That's the thing. Vlad.
I don't think Howard is talking to
trap, talking to young
kings and stuff like
right?
that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's the thing.
No one's looking at hey, here's a white dude interviewing a lot of black people. I wonder why. Then they start paying attention. Then they're like, okay. And then people start catching cases. Vlad's
but I mean, and also on top of that, I know in New York, there's actually divisions of the police that are there combing through hip hop lyrics and stuff like that, and
conversation, social media.
If you're putting all that stuff out, oh yeah, my friends run the streets, and then they were up 4th Avenue and down 5th, and if you go past the bodega on 6th Street, there's a spot right there where you can get all your
I would love to be a part of that team just to mislead all the white people. Oh no, they're talking about chicken. No, that right there, that's a West Indian reference. No, the Glock means mama's favorite pot. Yeah.
The only thing I don't understand is you have the music, because this is similar to how you have narcorridos, right? You have those Mexican cartel songs about the hits, about the drugs, about these things, and you have these guys singing about it, and it's a thing, it's a part of the culture, but you can't turn around and submit their songs as a mission because it's art, it's creative. You could say "Oh, I was just writing this." It's not true.
Only in the States where you can be prosecuted for art.
Because if let's, and this is a perfect segue into what we're talking about, because there's a major beef between Drake and Kendrick that the entire world is aware of. But as blurs, we have been saying.
But just to go back to what Skinny just said, only in the States you can get prosecuted for art. Lenny Bruce, look that guy up.
Oh yeah, and it's true. It is a major major issue that people can, and I would say we say that only in the States, but it's a history of Western societies controlling people by trying to silence certain arts at certain times in history, because Shakespeare was commenting on the royal family and had to hide everything in like, oh, this is about a Dutch king that just happens to have the exact same situation the current king of England has. It's like, no, this is nothing related to what is happening here right now. These three characters who are exactly like the three princes who are being sent to these three different areas and have this exact story, nothing, no relation. And like, you know what I mean? So, but as I was saying, the segue, Drake Kendrick have been having their beef. Some people say it starts with like that. I think it starts with what's the track that Cole and Drake did?
Oh, yeah, that can make sense.
I think, it definitely starts there.
Yeah.
I personally think that's where it starts. I've had a lot of conversations over the past 2 weeks.
I mean, I feel like
first-person shooter.
First-person shooter might have been like a more subliminal direct.
Yes, definitely so.
But friggin' friggin' Constructicons forming and going ahead and Devastator at Drake was like, oh, okay.
Well, from what I understood was that it was like J. Cole's like, yeah, we're the big three of hip hop. Me, K. Dot, and Drake. Isn't that great, guys? And then Kendrick in the back, like,
just man. Here, listen. To just sum it up, it's literally it's Milhouse. It's not Nelson, but what's his name? Milhouse, Bart, and the third one fighting over Radioactive Man #1.
Oh, Martin.
That's exactly what it is.
Martin.
Remember when Martin went home?
Yeah.
You know what, guys? I'm good. And then it was just Bart and Milhouse in that thing, cold as hell.
What is it?
Weird shit thinking when the other one's gonna jump him.
It's not a big three. It's just a motherfucking big me.
Yeah. and so one of the major conversations I've had is trying to explain to people, and I think I've come up with a decent analogy for people to understand this in this, especially specifically in Montreal. But I'm trying to think of another analogy, because the analogy I have is so specific to Montreal that I don't know if people will understand it outside.
A lot of people got mad at me, and I just want to say I told you so. So you go into your thing, and I'll get into my told you so speech.
So one of the things I want to explain to people is, first thing,
hi, Papa. Fuck all the honeys. Sorry.
So I work in music. I have meetings with people at labels. We have conversations about music and the music industry. And in those conversations, one of the main things we talk about is the fact that there are tiers to fame in music. There is top 40, there is hot AC, and there's AC. AC is the one that people might not say they want to be in, but is the one you want to be in, because AC, adult contemporary, means even grandma
knows your name.
Even grandma knows your name. That is AC. AC means everybody knows your name. Drake is AC. Drake.
Rename it to Cheers. Everybody knows your name.
Everybody. You walk into a spot and everybody knows your name, and that's Drake.
Sorry.
That's where he's at. Bob. It is what it is, and I feel like people got upset with Mos Def when Mos Def said that Drake is good shopping music, when I program the music for stores and people specifically ask for Drake. And I don't understand why that's a bad thing, because again,
that's when money in your pocket.
That's money. When you're AC, you're AC. That when you're that level, that when you're that famous, that popular, that everybody wants your music in every playlist. I'm talking grocery stores want Hotline Bling. That you are that famous. And I love Kendrick. I'm a big fan of Kendrick's. I'm not the biggest fan of Drake's, but at the end of the day, when it comes to
hot steppers, you can't shop to two people arguing.
The only song I can put from Kendrick is "All the Stars" with SZA, and that's because that's the soundtrack from Black Panther, and that's the only track that people are just like with SZA singing on it, and all this, the Black Panther movement came at the time when it came. Everyone was just like, "This song is great." Yeah, y'all only care about it because it is what it is now.
The little boy does say the F word a lot.
Hey, honey, what do you think of this head of lettuce over here? La-di-da-di-da,
What? Oh man, yeah.
But that's it. And I wanted to preface it with that because the thing I've been saying that the way I've been explaining it is, and this is why I say it's so specific to Montreal, but I feel like it's unfortunate that I can't think of a better. You know what? I'll use this analogy. Donovan Bailey was a 100-meter. Donovan Bailey is a 100-meter sprinter for Canada.
Yes.
Michael Johnson was the 200-meter sprinter for the United States. He did other track, but these are the two main races they did. When people calculated Michael Johnson's speed, they figured out that at the speed he ran 200, if you split that into two 100s, he was running faster than Donovan Bailey. And everyone said, "Oh, they have to go head to head now." Drake and Kendrick are in different tracks. Drake is a pop rap artist. And again, I don't know why people are offended by that term. Pop rap is pop rap.
That is people are stupid. That's why. That's where it goes.
Guys, LL Cool J was pop rap. He's one of the most successful rappers.
So is Jay-Z.
Jay-Z was pop rap towards the end. There's a bunch of people that are pop rap. Pop rap is you are popular and you are doing rap. You have crossed over into what they call the 4 quadrants, men, women, people of color, children. You are known by all the different quadrants and everyone listens to your music. That is how it's calculated. It's calculated that for movies, for music, all the industries, 4 quadrants. You want all 4 quadrants. That's how they base their decisions on which movies to make. Which quadrant? Okay, this quadrant is going to be more leans towards women, but there's this for the men, there's this for the kids, there's this for people of color. We've put enough for every category. Perfect. Let's go. A perfect 4 quadrant movie is something that appeals to everyone. Everyone's excited for it. Guess what? Pop rap was that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Kendrick, on the other hand, is a lyricist. You don't win a Pulitzer for being the pop rap guy. You win a Pulitzer because you are making music that stands out against the rest.
You're making actual albums.
You're about to say crap.
You're making actual albums. You're not flooding the market or your album with 40 tracks.
And then re-uploading it and then all sorts of crazy.
I'm not. See, this is the thing. I don't like Drake, but I'm not going to call what Drake does crap. What Drake does is commercial music. It's pop.
No, I meant like the rest, other stuff.
Yes. A lot of the other stuff was crap. So
yeah, I stand like in a very weird Switzerland / area, as I don't want to put my true feelings out, but I understand wherever people are coming out because so on and so forth. And like, I can't rebuttal like Brian. So if I happen to put my very strong, opinion out on the internet, then like 9 niggas are at my neck. And I'm just like, and I J. Cole myself. I'm just like, no, I'm good.
Well, J. Cole's living his best life. I love all the memes of J. Cole. What is J. Cole doing right now? He's on the back of a dolphin, flying somewhere.
Flying Nimbus right now. Man's chilling.
Not a care in the world.
They show him meditating. They have him lying down with cucumbers over his eyes to stay young and youthful and happy. The man is living.
When this first went down and he gracefully bowed out, everyone was like, "Ah, man, what are you doing? Hip hop sad, whiny face, blah blah blah." And I'm just like, listen, the man's almost 40. What does he want with this beef?
They all are almost 40.
Yeah, no, they're all almost 40.
Yeah.
What does he want with this beef? I listed reasons.
And he's never been like that.
Yeah, he's never been like that. It's not part of him, whatever. People like, it's been bad for J. Cole, so on and so forth. Okay, and I'm almost like, listen, why would he risk getting into this for some idiot to turn around, take it too far, and get violent? And I swear you not, shouts to you, J7, shouts to you, Maxim Tahook, aka Chrome, rappers, Montreal podcasters. You guys got on my neck saying, no one's gonna get violent. This is just rap. Excuse me? Sorry? What? Yeah. Who got shot just the other day? What store in London burned down?
Okay, that I can definitely The shooting I still don't understand because the maps they keep showing me say it's Drake's house, but then they show us the shooting happened 2 blocks away. I still don't understand.
I mean, if I'm a good security guard, I hear a noise that way, I might walk over.
Because that's how Toronto works. When you say I live in Toronto, you mean the GTA, but you're like so far out. And then some people are like, yeah, I'm in Toronto. Where's that, Mississauga? That's not Toronto. Get out of here. That's not even the GTA. Get out.
But I will say it's true because they were saying an OVO store got hit, right?
Mm-hmm,
London. They got sprayed. No, I didn't know it got set on fire.
Fire burn, so on, all sorts of crazy things. And it's like
Yeah.
it may not be them, it may not be their camps, but it's legit. Like, go on, there's crazy people everywhere, aka Nipsey Hussle situation. So
thank you. I feel like that's the most important part for us to take away from this is the fact that in this situation, it's important to recognize that there are mentally unstable people who unfortunately feel a strong connection to the music and see themselves as an army for these rappers or an army for this artist. And anyone they hate is someone this person has to now go and attack. And it's
we had this in 95, 94, 99, right? But the thing is, everybody was still more or less in their bubble. Yeah. And you would argue with people within your bubble. It didn't get so personal. A lot of lonely people didn't feel like they had a personal stride in this because Drake and Kendrick were their friends and all sorts of crazy possibilities. That did not exist. And if it did, again, bubble. With the world we live in now, we can't have nice things. No. Unfortunately.
Amen.
Because really crazy people tend to just get righteous and ruin it. That's a nice t-shirt name. Get righteous and ruin it. And you know what I mean? Like
also this whole beef has kind of been bubbling for years just because all the sneak disses and the diss and the that and the subliminal and blah 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 and all that stuff. So and then I feel it got more crazy and unfun when people started realizing, oh, Kendrick really hates this dude. And then he just says it.
Yeah, when he's like, nigga, I hate you. I'm like, all right.
You look, I hate how you smile. I hate you. I'm like, ugh. And I think the bad thing about it is that a lot of the memes I'm seeing right now are, man, Kendrick is really telling me something with this. He's telling me I'm not hating to my full potential. That's the message I am putting. I'm like, no, that's not the right.
Yeah. I hate you. I hate the way you look, the way you smile.
I need to hate harder.
Man. I've seen a lot of memes where people are just like, man, I need to learn how to hate like Kendrick. I'm like, whoa, that's not the lesson from the story.
What you want to do.
Like, I feel like if anything, that the one thing Kendrick was asking you to take away was, I think this man is a pedophile and has unnatural relationships with underage girls that we should look into more. And people are just like, wow, Kendrick really hates it. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess
he went there, and I'm glad he went there because if we're gonna take shots, you know, like, to be honest, we're all gonna be honest. Like Drake said it himself. Like he came out and he was just like, "You're short."
Like Drake treated it like a snaps. Like, snap on you, and I'm gonna snap on your mom, and
your back is up against the curb. Like you're short. Everything I say goes over your head because you're short. And then this guy's just like, "You touch little girls," and Drake's like, "Okay," and even sings at the song. He's just like, "I was really trying to keep it PG." Like I was saying this, and now you want to.
And then 30 minutes later, he drops another one. I heard you, and I said it again.
I don't like you. You're light skinned. You shouldn't say nigga. And Drake's like, wait, what? Hold on.
That sounds like a few of Common's old raps and stuff like that, where he's hating on like dreads with white girls and stuff.
Yeah,
like, Common.
Yeah.
And Drake goes like, okay, I'm gonna come out and bring out Family Matters. Let's go and like switch up the beats and keep it entertaining. Still shooting at everybody, have a few laughs in there. And Drake's just like, die. Drake's saying, Kendrick's just like, die slow. I hate your kids. What's even moms?
Oh no, I lost it. Never mind.
No, keep going.
No, I had something and I completely forgot. And, like it just left the mind.
But okay, so aside from the whole beef in general,
oh, that's it.
Okay, go ahead, hit us.
What's weird is that I think the last one that Kendrick came out with, it's got a good beat. It's got a good beat.
And has he thrown up gang signs?
Drake, you a pedophile. It's a good beat. It's gonna be a hit for the summer. It's got a good beat. Drake, you're a pedophile. Drake's pedophile. Let's do the electric slide to this at the wedding. Drake's pedophile.
So I have to ask you guys because this is the main thing that people have been discussing. Who's winning right now?
Oh man, us. I don't know. I can't. I mean, listen. Okay, Kendrick.
Drake has to like just walk away and stop.
But Kendrick, yes, Kendrick has won the beef, the back and forth. Shit, I'm going back and listening to probably the last 2 songs.
Yeah.
And that's even on both sides, because I don't fuck with Mustard as a producer level. Like, I think his shit is way too simple and shouldn't be making millions of dollars. But Kendrick also went in his Alchemist bag, and I love Alchemist. So I was like, okay, I can, go back and forth. And this is just what I'm going back and listening to in terms of what's going to get me hype if I like say I'm going to hang out with someone I don't like and I got to pretend to like them. I'm listening to Family Matters. I'm listening to Push-Ups. You know what I mean? But like, Kendrick, I can, as a Drake fan and as someone who likes Kendrick a lot, Kendrick won this but there's no but. He won. But it's like,
what's even like something I remembered from when Kendrick dropped Control, and then Drake talked about it. He's like, who's gonna want to work with him after that? Like that's super. Like, but everybody else that he was dissing was like, all right, let's do this. All right, yeah. Let's.
I think who was the only other person? Jay Electronica was the only other person who was offended by like, why are you naming yourself the king? But yeah, everyone else just saw it as like
no album.
But that's it. Yeah. Everyone else saw it as an opportunity to be like, okay, yeah, let's go. You think you're the best? Essentially, it's like the schoolyard. It's like King of the Mountain.
Yeah. It was King of the Mountain, and it was all sport. And then
just to kind of wrap that up for me. So Drake says, "Oh, who's going to want to work with him?" And then all this time right now, all of a sudden, Kendrick really zeroes in on Drake, and then all of a sudden, everyone's unfriending Drake and then this, that, and I'm like, whoa, what the? Everyone's just like, just shifting around.
My whole thing with that, which is fantastically, I think it's great, but I think 2023 and no hip hop songs being on the top of the charts really spoke to all of the AC, all of the top artists that Brian was talking about before. So in my head, and this would be a great movie, this was all a ploy. They all band together to be like, listen, we're gonna go at you, because generally people tend in this hip hop shit hate you, Drake. They hate you, and everyone was on board. And then a few people just said, fuck it, I actually really hate this guy. That being Rick Ross, Kanye, who never lied about nothing, and Kendrick, and that's how the cookie crumbed.
Metro Boomin,
Shut your ass up, Metro.
Future's like, sure, why not?
I'm gonna
hold Future don't know what he's doing.
You know what? I will give. I think Jaws hit it on the head there too, as well, because there's some people that I felt jumped in because it was like, you know what? I don't really care, but like high school rules, you're just like, well, everyone's picking on him. I might as well jump in. And it's just like, you didn't have to jump in, but
he's already dead.
Remember the movie Bones?
With Denzel?
No, Bones.
I'm thinking
where he was like the ghost pimp and stuff.
Yes.
And then everyone came and killed him, and at the end, they're all stabbing him, and they didn't want to, like, 2 people didn't want to stab him, but they stabbed him anyway.
Right.
He's like, sorry, man. Stab. Yeah, he came after all of us, and we all had to stab him. That was like the big cover up.
I've been watching as someone, so I think there's, and it was funny because I was telling my parents this earlier when I was talking about it, because they asked me what I was going to talk about on the podcast, and I told them Drake versus Kendrick, and I said at the time, Drake won this as a artist, as a pop rap artist, because he's only just continued to make himself more popular, and people, even if the memes are negative, Drake usually likes to be memed, so for him, this is just a continuation of all the memeing he's done in the past.
He's memeing,
right. And Kendrick won this on a lyrical level, where I do feel, and I know some people have been mad. I heard Maul talk on the new Rory and Maul screaming about how everyone's crazy if they don't think that Drake is not the best one out here, and Family Matters is the best diss track, and Heart Part 6 is the best rap track ever. And I was just like, okay.
I might feel that way, but I also have to be analytical, and Maul's not being analytical.
Yes, and that's the thing I feel like a lot of people were saying to Maul at the time, and that I'm saying, when it comes down to it, and I listen to the tracks, and I listen to the raps, and I listen to the structure, and as much as Maul didn't like it, and I watch the timing, I watch how people did things, and when this one dropped, when you replied, when you did this, when you did that, the timing on stuff, Kendrick is winning in that sense.
Nigga dropped that hit song on a Saturday, right?
A Saturday,
Right.
30 minutes after. Like you're just like,
yeah. And you know, I spoke with someone who knew when Drake's track Family Matters was dropping, because, you know, in their circle, word was getting out that Drake was going to drop his at this point. And when I said to that person, because I said to the person, oh, it feels like there really is a leak when you see Meet the Grahams drops right after Family Matters. And the person was just like, it's not no leak. Everyone knew when Family Matters, anyone in the circle knew when Family Matters was dropping. And those people were telling their girls, and their girls were telling like their friends. And I was just like,
honestly, I don't think it's girls chatting with other girls about this.
No. It's not girls.
I'm straight up, it's dudes just like nerding out.
Oh, that too. Yeah, he was telling me specifically how he found out.
I know. But I'm pretty.
Yeah, he found out because his girl found out from Boy Wonder's girl. And he's telling me that.
Yeah,
he's telling me Boy Wonder's girl told his girl, and I'm just like, oh. And he's just like, that's how I knew when the track was dropping. So, yes, someone in Kendrick's camp was going to find out when the track was dropping because people are finding stuff out. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's fair. Because I was trying to say the timing thing was a factor. Like, oh, there's leaks. Like, I was just like, yo, Kendrick's in his head. And he's just like, nothing to go so, man. Like, it's not that.
Nothing to go so.
It's not
I was
like
just hearing that song this morning. No, nothing to go so.
Nothing to go so. Anyways.
Yeah, man.
Yo. With all that to be said, at the end of the day, Drake is gonna continue to be famous. And even with multiple pedophile allegations being thrown at him by another rapper, and again, this is in rap, there's nothing confirmed. And Drake has that weird line of like, I'd be like, if I did, I should. It's a weird line. I wouldn't
basically like, I should go to jail. What are you talking like? Sure.
Yeah,
these weird sussy lines.
I understand what he's saying. He's just like, if I'm that type of person to be in prison, there's no case. I've never been charged with anything. You're just throwing this out because it's like
that's a terrible defense.
I know,
it's a terrible defense, but it's like the most bold defense.
Yes,
that's a terrible defense. That's a terrible defense on wax.
I just meant
it out in the internet forever.
That's the thing. Jaws is right.
Top 40.
Like it's one thing for you to feel that way and to say to people, like if you're on socials, like, hey man, if you're gonna come at me with this, I need more than you just saying it. People need to have evidence, because if this is the case, I'd be in jail. Instead, you're gonna rap, to a beat.
You ain't see what they just did to Majors, boys. Shut up. Shut your mouth, nigga. God damn it.
What? Goodness.
Because the digging is happening, right? As we speak, there are fans on either side who are doing deep dives into every song and every lyric that both of these rappers have put out to see if they, dude, the amount of people pulling up all the stuff with Drake and Millie Bobby Brown and everything.
My favorite was 2 videos. One of them is like this white kid talking about it,
right?
But it's super good. He's like, but Kendrick's my senpai. But then he goes in on Drake because he was like, oh, in this song, Drake is saying Kendrick is a sellout because he's rapping on Maroon 5 and Taylor Swift song. And he's like, excuse me, where you get the audacity to say that? Because you are in a video dancing to that song that Kendrick is on. You're dancing to Bad Blood. What the hell are you talking about?
So he's making funny. Okay, my counter to that, Drake's making fun of Kendrick because Kendrick is Mr. As he says, every time you rap, I feel like you think you're about to free the slave. Like Kendrick's like pro-black, black of the bear, super, and your wife's mulatto. Yeah, and we can't say that, but you know what I'm saying? Like your wife's
And I would say, based off that, Kendrick definitely has Magneto energy. If we're gonna talk about someone who feels like, hey, I'm freeing the slaves, Magneto's out here like, listen, every mutant is superior to you, and they should all be free to do with their powers what they see fit. And now let's transition into the wonderful 9th episode, if I'm not mistaken. 9th episode of
second to last.
X-Men 97, the penultimate episode. Yeah, penultimate episode of this season. we got some wild-ish. We got some
AKA
wild-ish.
Canon that pride. I like
Yo.
that. Canon that pride.
We did not do that.
I mean,
They
I
did
mean,
not.
I will
They did
hit
not.
you all with
Hold
all
on.
of it.
Other than
let's
wardrobe.
let's explain what that means, though. Skinny, no, actually, Skinny, by all means, because you're the one that put me onto it. I had heard of the episode, but had never watched it, and only
Oh,
found
really?
out.
It's good.
It's so bad.
Yeah,
Friday the
It's
X-Men
bad.
so It's
So
bad.
do you
Okay,
know the
well,
story about how that episode
for
was
the time.
created?
Wendell hit it.
So yeah, I'll let you do it, Josh.
So
hit us.
basically, so what Skinny and what we're all alluding to is Pride of the X-Men. It
Yeah.
is basically a backdoor pilot for X-Men in general. So
Yeah.
what happened was, I guess it was Marvel Studios was working on the RoboCop animated TV show. Yes, the R-rated movie where the man got blown up and
Right.
hand and all that.
Most
They made a
ridiculous.
cartoon show for kids in the 80s.
Yeah.
So this show, I think, had a X amount of episodes, and instead of, I think it could have been 1 to 5 episodes they
Yeah.
had left to actually create. They're like, I guess the producer on it, she was like, nah, screw that. This show ain't going nowhere. It's gonna get canceled. Let's take that money and make a pilot for X-Men.
Right.
And so what they did was they made a pilot for X-Men and they used the voice cast from G.I. Joe. So that's why some of the majority of the voices sound okay, but then all of a sudden Wolverine is Australian for some reason.
Right.
And you guys, he's played by the voice actor that does Zartan from G.I. Joe.
Right.
Zartan is Australian. So
Yeah.
that's why. So yeah, that's it.
And off of that, and I'll add to that, when they made it and it didn't get picked up, they scrapped the idea, and then that's the birth of X-Men 92, which is what 97 is a continuation
And
of.
that-
Friday the
that-
X-Men came out like 90 or something.
And Pride of the
Yeah.
X-Men directly influenced the video game.
The arcade game.
Right.
TV.
Yeah.
That-
which is
so,
the-
so they're expecting to be this giant rollout. So that's why you have that Konami game that was like what, four, five,
Four
six
players.
6 players simultaneously.
Was
players?
six
Yeah, it was
players? Oh, wow.
simultaneously.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
they had,
like
they had
actual
a
arcade
6
boards.
and then they had a 4.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
And
never saw
one of
it.
the other aspects of it is the show was part of that whole Marvel kind of
Cartoon
the
block.
cartoon block where Spider-Man and his super friends, or
Mhm.
sorry, Spider-Man and his friends, amazing friends,
Amazing Friends.
amazing friends.
Yeah,
Apologies.
the X-Men in those costumes actually guest starred on Spider-Man. and the Amazing
Exactly.
Friends
Yeah.
a
So
few
that
times.
was
Cool,
was the
cool
thing.
story.
Yeah.
Cool little geek note. The voice actor for Spider-Man in that show is Dan Gilvezan, who played Bumblebee in original Transformers.
oh cool.
Funny thing also is that when he still reads comic, he still reads Spider-Man. When he
Right.
reads Spider-Man, he's imagining his voice as Peter
Oh,
Parker.
that's hilarious. That is pretty cool.
That's the next level.
real quick, who did the voice for? And I'm sure I'm going to sound stupid. Can we confirm who did Megatron's voice again?
No.
Frank-
Peter
Oh, okay,
Frank Welker. Frank
Welker.
Welker did.
okay, because he did one of the voices on Pride of X-Men.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I was looking at the list. He's one of the voice actors on it,
Yeah,
which is
so I
kind of
think that-
crazy. So
I think that like a lot of that crew that did Transformers, they're like, hey, I got a job over here. Oh yeah, no, hey, I got
Yeah.
and
This
so
is
they're
all
all kind of
homies and
moving
stuff.
together, kind of.
because when you
Yeah.
just said the Bumblebee thing, I was just like, oh, there's another Transformers connection. Okay, cool. So the reason we bring that up and the reason we're giving you that backstory is because when you see the episode, and Dave, if you could do the honors, because I'm sure you know the title. I know it's part 2. I forget what the title is.
Extinction.
It's
is
called
tolerance.
Just Extinction. Just
Tolerance is
Extinction.
Okay.
All the next 3 episodes are all just the
Tolerance
exact
is
same name.
extinction.
Part 1, Part 2, Part 3.
Yeah.
Sorry, Skinny, what are you saying?
Tolerance is extinction.
Tolerance is
Tolerance
extinction.
is Extinction. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so Tolerance is Extinction, episode 2, or part 2, sorry, I should say, which is the penultimate episode of this first season of X-Men 97.
Yeah.
We are already into the shits. It is kind of crazy. We have Charles, he's back. There's nods to blue team, gold team. There's
That was a quick nod. That was
yeah,
a very quick little haha.
Yeah.
There's nod to Wolverine issue. I think it's 75.
yes,
25.
which I own, the
75.
hologram.
X-Men 25.
It's,
X-Men 25 and Wolverine 75.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the 2 issues that they. Well, I guess technically it's very much more X-Men 25 because Wolverine 75 is the aftermath of what happens in 25. Like it even ends. I was telling Skinny, I reread them this morning after watching the show, and it even says at the bottom the continuation of this will be in Wolverine 75, and it shows you the cover.
They busted down real good, man. They did it so good.
And the thing that we're talking about is, which is a major moment in Wolverine's lore, that
corrections. Yep.
Yeah, Magneto, in a moment of anger, pulls the adamantium from Wolverine's bones.
Liquefies the shit live. So boils it and then liquefies it through his pores.
And
which is
pulls it through his pores. Yeah.
It's a little hypocritical though for him to be like, I love all my mutants, and
this nigga just gutted you in your rib.
What? Yeah, but still, like,
no, I'm just trying to live here.
You're destroying the whole Earth for mutant and human alike.
Dave, human or not, a 3-year-old come up to you, look you in your
all
face.
Those people are dead.
A 3-year-old kicks you in the nuts. You're deading him.
I'm not saying yeah, maybe, but you're not maiming him for life.
Depending on what you define as deading, I don't know.
Wolverine can't be deaded.
No, he can't, but he
can be hurt.
When you already sent Sabretooth to mess with him and you put him out of commission for a bit after a slash. Remember second episode, big slash? You're like, okay, I could boil him. Okay, I could do that. Okay, I could boil him.
That's the thing. A lot of people like to point out that Wolverine can't be killed or heals, but y'all do realize a major aspect of the character is he feels the pain, right? He doesn't.
100%.
It's not like he doesn't have pain receptors. So y'all need to remember all these writers who are writing the most gruesome deaths for Wolverine. I've seen one where Wolverine's entire skin is peeled off of him from an explosion and then grows back. Guys, that hurts. He felt his skin pull off and melt.
There's an amazing during Civil War. There's Wolverine has
Nitro.
With Nitro, exactly. Yeah. He has an issue or two. His because in Civil War they all have tie-ins.
Yes,
and Wolverine's tie-in
almost too many tie-ins, by the way.
Too many. But one that's a great tie-in to read is that there's the one where Wolverine's hunting Nitro, in which case Nitro does an explosion. I'm pretty sure it's exactly what you were talking about.
Yes, that's actually what I'm talking about.
Gets all burnt off, but then the next issue, that's the beginning of the issue, but the rest of the issue is him describing that hurt a bunch.
Yes,
and then him basically going through the limbo of being chased by death, essentially.
Yeah,
and it's actually an amazing read to get into the character.
Fantastic read.
Yeah,
Wolverine's side story in Civil War where he's hunting Nitro, because Nitro's the one that starts off Civil War. He's the one that explodes and kills a bunch of kids. And you have Penance, who is Speedball's story. Honestly, if you guys are looking for a really good read, Civil War is one of the best reads.
Great story.
All this to say, back to the main story. We get to the episode. We started off. Everything's happening. Cable's there. They're putting the teams together. They're going to go. They're figuring out, they're splitting the teams up. They're like, you're going to be going to the asteroid. You're going to be going after Bastion and his Sentinel Primes, right? I guess.
Yeah. A lot of internal hate within the team for the first 5-7 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously.
Do you feel okay? So how did you guys feel about that discussion where there's kind of like anger and Rogue wakes up and she's like, Rogue has been out for at least 2 episodes since she got punched by that Sentinel.
An episode. Yeah. She got knocked out at the end of
Oh, sorry, 7. True. 1 episode. Yes. And wakes up at the beginning of this one. Right.
Yeah. So I think she has every right to be pissed. Right. I think she has every right to be pissed about the fact that, because for sure her waking up and then being told, yeah, one of them survived, and you're like, not the one I wanted. That for sure tilted her off.
Did you feel like there was enough for her to defect? Because Skinny and I talked about that this morning too. In the original comic book, Colossus is the one that defects, and he defects because his sister dies, and he's also
yes, that's good. But at one point, it's a ruse too.
You're making constellations, right? You're making little.
Yeah. You're trading out one story for another.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the whole Storm got shot by protecting Magneto, not Storm, right? Because not Magneto or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like it's also because ultimately it'll be temporary when things cool down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I feel like Scott. I feel the only person who really had the legit beef was maybe Scott, though, and he didn't even defect really.
Yeah. Can we ask? Okay. How did you guys feel when Magneto? So in the episode at one point where Actually, let me rewind.
Yeah, we're
yeah,
jumping.
no, I'm not. I was gonna jump, but let me rewind. Magneto shows up to the school, and Xavier tries to reason with him, which does not go well. And I think it's fair to say,
I'm not doing anything. Professor X is like, my G, there's a whole meteor above my house that suggests otherwise. Fuck you mean?
Yeah,
He's like, yeah, well, you got me.
Yeah, but at the same time, no. See, I disagree with that in the sense that, like, I feel this
That was
is
so good,
this
though.
is the one time, just like at the end of last episode, where there was like, I really hated the thought that was scary was Magneto was right. In this scenario, you're like, Magneto did exactly what you wanted him to do in this scenario. He did it the nice way,
Yeah.
and then like he had to be essentially killed
yeah.
for him to be like, I had enough.
Well,
and that's
I
a little
mean,
valid.
and
Yeah, but what they loosely mentioned that he, like, upon doing what he did, like, millions of people have died.
And millions of mutants as well. Like that's the
Yes.
one thing. That's the one thing out of character I find about how Magneto's going about it. It's like, sure, if you could have done that and killed a bunch of humans, cool. But he had to have killed a bunch of,
Yes.
you know,
Yes, and everyone was got. If you were on a plane and all electricals went down, the plane went down. So any flight that was in the air at the time, any medical life support things that people are on, mutant or human, yes. If we're being honest, like Magneto did a certain what? Sorry,
boats. He says
boats, cars, helicopters, planes,
trains,
anything electric,
automobiles.
By any means necessary.
By any means. And that's the thing. Magneto, much like Kendrick, has a lot of hate in his heart and said, "Nuh-uh, it's over. I hate you. I hate your
I hate
for him to describe how Leech died in his arms, though.
Yeah,
was like,
that was brutal.
I actually was gonna be like, well, I guess Leech is dead.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But
there's no reason why he should be alive.
But Dave, I think the main point to what you said, it's true. When Magneto is describing how Leech died and is like pained, and this is the second time we've seen Magneto essentially kind of play up the, hey man, I tried. I am trying. Don't let me let you down. He said to them, don't do it. Don't do it. If you do it, I'll have to show you who I am. And I am a dangerous man. I'm dangerous. Like, can you imagine this is like, and we say this in comic books, this is like Superman telling you, don't make me go full Superman. This is Magneto telling you, don't make me go full Magneto. There are certain characters in comic books who at any given point are actively holding back. They're not going full power. And this is one of those times where you have a character who's been pushed all the way. And Skinny said it when we did the first X-Men episode together. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. Don't, because he will show you how powerful he is.
It's like Dr. Manhattan being like, don't irritate me. And you walk up to him and they start urinating on his leg. And then you're like, vape. Like,
well, I mean, it's a little more than urinating on the leg, though, because you wiped out the island of the people he was trying to like save. Like,
yeah, you're not gonna be able to hurt. I'm just saying you can't maim Dr. Manhattan. He won't. You can't do that. So like, I'm just giving metaphors.
Yeah,
but, like, you know.
Yes, essentially, it's like a fly to it. Yes.
Yeah, you know, like you're not gonna do. You know, but at the end of the day, like what I did like is that at least those who did defect, they were the ones that with the stories and the changes they made to those histories made the most sense.
So the two people who defected
being Rogue and Sunspot. I thought those made the most sense, but you could tell that Sunspot was more like, because Sunspot the whole time he's been like, I don't want to say I'm a mutant. I don't want to say I'm a mutant. I'm going to finally say I'm a mutant. They did exactly what I was worried about. So you're wrong. He has to be right. And you can even tell when he's fighting Jubilee later on, or when they're having a confrontation.
Dude, he felt so. He was running from Jubilee after he hit her. Like he hit Jubilee the first time, and it's just like, Jubes, are you okay? And it's just like, bitch, you just hit her. What do you mean? What kind of abusive partner bullshit is this? Where you're just like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. It's like, no, you full on hit her and knocked her down, and now you're scared when she gets up and she's attacking you. Jubilee was not playing when she went after Roberto. If Jubilee got her hands on Roberto in that moment, she would have fucked his ass up. But he's lucky.
It turned into danger room practice for real.
Yeah, he's lucky his powers can stop her bless her soul. But
it's true. Technically, he doesn't even have to. He could just turn into.
Roberto doesn't shoot fire like blast. I don't know why they did that.
Sun.
Thank you.
And then not hurt.
Why the fuck they do that? He doesn't have fire powers. His solar power gives him strength, and he just turns blacker. Like, well, I don't know why he did that.
I think he could shoot projectiles, though.
I've never seen him shoot projectiles in my life.
Whether he uses it or not is different.
But yeah, okay. But
I'm
all
gonna
to say,
research that, though.
that was an interesting moment because I agree with Dave and is pointing out a valid point. You can't tell somebody who doesn't want to be out, because again, Roberto is an allegory for the LGBTQ coming out of the closet, and he's just like, it'd be easier for me to just hide who I am, which is a commentary that we've had about mutants, that some can hide and some can't, and it's a major factor. He hid, and when he finally came out to his mom, and his mom was supportive, not even that she was mad, he was scared she wouldn't be, and she was supportive. But then as soon as she was in public, turned her son over because she was just like, nah, I'm not gonna, you go with the nice people. Even though, can we take a nod to that for a moment? Those fuckers followed them into the party, blasting through doors, flying, and he yells, they're attacking us, and they all of a sudden just stand down, and the whole room is just like, well, just go with the night. Excuse you.
No one said rich people were smart.
Never.
No one ever
smart.
said.
They got lucky. That's
Yeah,
it. Stop,
for all you know, some of those were robots.
There's a reason why they call them the 1%. I'm saying?
Because that's what they get on the math test.
There you go. Oh man, we're great.
Oh my god,
man. So real quick, just before I biggie, I just wanted to give you guys tidbits and reasons why I think certain things might be canon, might not be not. You guys can agree or disagree, but I'm throwing it out there. In that old little pilot, their base was on Muir Island. These people said, hey, we're gonna go get our old gear on the old base on Muir Island. Ding, number one.
Okay.
Number two, they get there, like all the old jets are there, including the old Blackbird that they use in said cartoon. So is Wolverine's motorcycle. That was an old toy. If you saw it, that was dope.
Right.
That was basically what made me think that. The rest of the episode / what X-Men Gold Team did is more or less why I think it's very it's not so much that it made it canon, is that if that show happened and then they put out the X-Men arcade game to kind of coincide with it, if you're really paying attention, the Gold Team was playing the X-Men game.
Okay.
Think about it. The whole sand area, all the Sentinels they were fighting, all that like legit, it looked like that's basically the seating for that X-Men game. And then the last level where you have Blue Team on Asteroid M fighting Magneto, it's like this is the X-Men game in the cartoon form if you're ever gonna get it. My like what I love about this, Screen Rants hasn't said this, Emergency Awesome hasn't said it, none of y'all have picked this up. When they showed the 4 X-Men in the glass, notice the 4 X-Men / 5th X-Men, but notice the 4. It's the 4 from the original movie. So Cyclops, it's Storm, Cyclops, Jean, Wolverine, Professor X, and then it's Rogue.
Oh,
and then when Cyclops says, "What were you expecting?" Black leather. It's like because these are the like it's alluding to those 4 where like the original X-Men. I don't know what timeline because. Or what like year? Because
in relation to what they're doing now, you mean?
Maybe they change suits every 6 months. I don't know. Maybe these suits will be gone next episode. Who knows?
Their suits are always changing.
They
always got new suits. Always got new threads.
Charles has a seamstress on Deckerson. Like I don't know what's going on, but they just have all this stuff going on. And I just, for me to see brown suit Wolverine, in a cartoon, acting like brown suit Wolverine, I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't need anything else. I'm great.
Wolverine fighting Rogue to me was one of the best. Like he feels like he's one of the only people that could really take her on. She is way stronger, obviously, but the adamantium gives him a slight advantage of if she just punches him as hard as she can, as much as he'll get a concussion, he is also hitting full on adamantium. Like it's not like she's just hitting plastic, it's not just bone.
Did she say we played a kill? Did she say that?
You're playing to kill, or so it looks like you're playing.
Yeah, she was saying to them, "You're playing to kill," because when they showed up, that's what she said. And I love that Nightcrawler got the advantage on her, where the plane lands and she rips the door open. By the way, speaking about playing to kill, your crew is showing up that you just defected from, and instead of like waiting for them to open the door. You ripped the door open, like girl. You were.
I mean, it's
you
not
were
her
also
first
playing-
time. I think
Make it look
when
real.
I think when they show that episode of her getting her powers from Ms. Marvel, she's
Right.
They're going down together or something. I think.
No, but I'm just saying, like, now that she is of sound mind and body and is a hero, quote unquote, even though she's dealing with a lot, for her to defect and immediately be super aggressive towards them was very interesting. Like, she wasn't holding back. Like, when she's fighting Wolverine, that did not look like someone who's pulling their punches. She looked like she was really trying to put him down and stop him, which, you know,
crazy, a little nuts.
I was gonna say I don't think it's canon necessarily, just because I think it's just they're homaging, like they're really putting.
I think
all
they're
that,
homaging
like,
hard.
hey, this is why we're here. It's not just 92 we're here. It's 90. That's the reason. So I think it's just a heavy homage, like kind of like.
But I mean, quick question though, because I haven't seen the episode. If Skinny is right and it is canon,
no, these guys won't let me be right.
It doesn't. I don't think it makes sense.
No, but that's why I'm asking. Because what would be the major difference that you couldn't have?
There would have been a reference. There would have been a reference of Kitty Pryde, if anything, because Colossus was already in X-Men 97. I'm sorry, in X-Men X-Men 92.
Pride of the X-Men. So Colossus is already there. So
Colossus
when he shows up in 92, they wouldn't be like, "Who's this guy?" They'd be like,
okay.
"Oh, hey Colossus, come over here." You know, like
right.
They would know who he is.
Skinny,
unless they're like rebooting within the show.
I felt like you might be right. I like based on everything I knew, but I never saw the episode. So that's
I hear you. And by Wendell's exact point, he's right. They would have been like, "Hey, Colossus," so on and so forth. But
same
then
with Kurt.
Same with Kurt. Yeah, geez, they're right. But to what I'm saying, if we take little tidbits in that, where the fuck did Morph get those morphs from?
Yeah, because you have been saying he has to have interacted with these people to be able to mimic their powers.
I'm just
that's what we assume. For all you know, you can look at a YouTube.
Like I'm just saying more so.
How does he do Hulk? How does he do Hulk?
Like I'm just saying I'm just saying technically
I'll answer it in a second because David's waiting for the answer, but Jaws was talking. That's the only reason.
We gotta give you and I see where Jaws is going because
technically X-Men 97 is in the Fox Marvel universe, and they had Hulk. The Secret War, and everybody met up with everybody and all that kind of stuff. So that's fine. Like that's completely fine. You could pull your Captain America, your Fantastic Four, your the Hulk that came out after all that, and everything. I think, and Silver Surfer, like all that's in that bubble, the X-Men 90s cartoon and everything. So that's fine. Like I feel like they all met up with each other. Iron Man too, so like that. Okay. Like it's all of them meeting up, and that was all those cartoons that were out around that time.
I'll feed you guys this. You guys agree or disagree? Sacred Timeline is what we're watching. Pride of the X-Men, squiggly.
All right, I'm down with that.
So things did happen the same, except for we're just gonna knock out Kitty Pryde, replace Dazzler with Jubilee, and just
because Jubilee would have been Kitty Pryde because she was like I don't know what's going on. I don't understand anything. Yeah. Oh, we're explaining to you everything.
She was like
she's
the
audience.
But in terms of like arcade game roster,
I would say it's like a separate, maybe stuff happened.
Because I just want to know when the fuck they wore those costumes before. For like, hey, we're going to the old base and we're putting on our old gears. Like, Nick, for what mission?
Because also on top of that, it's like, wait, isn't this almost 10 years later, and all of you fit exactly the same in your old costumes?
No problem.
Hey guys, they have a great fitness routine that keeps them tight. Okay,
they have the Incredibles thing where just like
oh, the spandex. No matter what size you are, it always fits. That's
exactly.
The last thing I'll say, because my poor child's crying for me, is that listen, y'all making the movie, the bar has been set. Don't mess up this dunk, all right? This is an alley-oop that you've been getting. You have some explaining to do. If you somehow fuck up this dunk, that is X-Men 97. I'm talking to all the writers. If y'all just don't give it to Bo or give it to some Bo's weird pseudo name that was not actually Bo, it's like Code de Bio, do something so that this man continues to keep writing this shit, because I don't want y'all to be like X-Men movie and it's garbage when you just had a 10-episode cartoon that literally did 7 storylines in 30 minutes?
Yeah.
They did the arcade game Onslaught leading into Fatal Attractions. Like, come on, zero tolerance.
On top of that, and I know you got to bounce, but one of the things that we've been saying is, even though at first there's some episodes that we felt were going too fast, now that we've seen the whole season, we understand the pacing. Dave, I will give you credit for saying not every episode can go full tilt. And you're right. At the end of this season, I am happy now that I've seen it all and I waited week to week. This was solid pacing. It drove me a little crazy at times, but it's back to being week to week. And that's the reason I probably wasn't used to it anymore, because we've been gifted so many full season everything at once recently that if I'm being honest, because you guys know I watch most things sped up too, I'm watching things sped up and in like bong bong bong. Like, I finished the Tales of the Empire in one sitting, those 6 episodes.
Jesus.
They're only 15 minutes. They're only 15 minutes, but still, I watched the whole thing one run. I didn't like watch. So for me, watching something like the X-Men, where the pacing is kind of like janky sometimes, but you made it that way because you're trying to set a pace.
Shout out to Cable's costume from MVC2 in the show.
Straight up Sins of Sinister too, for putting that diamond on his head.
Yeah, that was good too.
Directly from Sins of Sinister. So like, shouts to people who read comics. It's not so hard, huh? Hey, Brian Singer, dickhead. And with that,
later, Skinny.
Man.
Not wrong. Get your ages right.
Not that easy, huh, Singer? Dickhead. That was great. That was better than any of the Harmon disses I've ever thrown. That was so perfect. Yeah, man. That I gotta say, X-Men 97, and I agree with Skinny. It is very difficult for me to kind of cope with the fact that DeMaio's not working on it anymore. I am in the comment sections. There's this guy who posted a video on IG saying that, you know, he found out the truth is now that Bo lost it because of the OnlyFans, and I'm in that comment section being like, telling people, don't listen to this dude. There's no evidence to support this. And I posted my comment, maybe 4 weeks ago. And every day since I posted that comment, someone has posted, well, then what's the real reason? And I'm like, we don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah. That's for us not to know.
It's for us not to, guys. We live in a world where sometimes you will just not find out the answer, and that's okay. You have to be able to.
Usually people aren't told why people get fired. You don't work for the company. You don't I'm sorry. Like, when you do know that, you're lucky.
I agree, man.
None of your business. Also, on top of that, if they did tell you, then hey, I could sue you because that's, whatever.
That's private information.
So many reasons why we will never fully know until one of them, either Bo or Disney, decides they feel comfortable telling the truth and dealing with the repercussions of telling that truth. But until then, people going around saying that Disney executives found Bo and his OnlyFans creepy and inappropriate and using that as a basis to post stories on the internet, y'all need to stop. You should be ashamed. You do not have the facts. And I'm looking right at y'all. You are bad people if you're going to just put something on someone's docket like that. You are. Like, I'm okay with it's one thing if we talk about a TV show and we have theories about a character. It's another thing to start putting something on someone's name and their career and spreading that as if it's fact. And for all the people who are coming at me or other people, because I see other people also saying the same thing as me and being like, you have to at least have the facts. You can't just say this about this guy. And they're just like, well, then what's the real reason? Guess what, fuckers? You'll never know. You don't know. You don't
deserve to know. You're not. You're not. For all you know, the reason why we don't know is because maybe he did something embarrassing. Like, maybe he just did some general faux pas. He's like, this is a faux pas that got me fired. I'd rather you guys not tell. For all you know, it's him saying don't tell people.
And on the other side, maybe Disney just realized that they didn't want him around. Disney has fired people before that they just didn't feel had the juice. They've done it. They're a multi-million dollar company. Edward
Norton, fired from Hulk. Never going to be seen the Hulk again. Why? They didn't like how he played ball. That was all it was.
And Disney is controlling.
Disney for all you know, and I'm not saying this like because I know he lives his life a certain way. Maybe he was dick swinging too much to get things that he wanted in a way that they're like, you may have put it out the park, but you went about it the wrong way.
But that's the thing. I don't know. And that's why I'm saying to the people out there, you can't just put it on Bo. You can equally put it on Disney, but people are only putting it on Bo. Everything I've seen is Bo. It must have been Bo was too hard to work with. It must have been Bo was this. Must have been Bo was that. Disney is a multi-billion-dollar company that has gotten rid of directors and actors without reasons multiple times. They don't always tell you. For God's sakes, they're the same company that screwed over Scarlett Johansson and then tried to put her on blast publicly in front of everyone. Guess what? They're not going to do that again. So if they fire someone, they're not going to say why, because they don't want to deal with the negative repercussions of their stupidity. It might very well be that Disney did some fuck shit and we just don't know. So for everyone out there, be okay with not knowing. Be happy that we got what we got from Bo and the team and that it is fantastic to watch. And hope among hope that we get someone just as good for the next few seasons. And like Skinny was saying, hopefully someone just as good for the movies, because if not, we just had the best fucking X-Men and we will never get anything as good possibly.
2 seasons, technically 2 seasons.
Oh yeah, he worked on 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, technically. They're re-signed for a third, but like, but that's the other thing. Like, for all you know, he went over, maybe he did see, like, it could even just be as simple as creative differences. They could have been like, we're good. You went a little too far in season 2. We don't want to do that. It's for all you know.
Or maybe they could have done like, I mean, we're always speculating here and blah, blah, blah. They could have been like, hey, we need you to tie this into MCU. No, let us stand on our own first.
Jaws,
we don't want to do an Iron Man 2 here.
Jaws,
calm down.
You are hitting an angle that I have been thinking about since Jump, and I didn't say it because I was just like, hopefully that's not what happened. But I'm so with you on the idea that just like Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 2, every time Disney and Marvel have gotten into someone's way and said, hey, you got to tie this in with the MCU so we can tell the bigger story, guess what? That project just didn't work as well. Every single time so far.
I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Bless their souls, they made a good show, but man, when they tried to work with MCU, no one wanted them. They kept mistreating them. Everyone said Shang-Chi is the first Asian American character in the MCU, and then you had
May.
You had May, but I mean superhero, but
but
you had
still. May,
and then you had Quake, Daisy, and the actress who played Daisy even posted like, "Excuse me." Because she was just like, I'm on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This show takes place in the MCU. Why are you guys acting like I'm not an Asian American superhero? And every one of them, they always had to go up against fucking Disney, and they always had problems. So I'm, and Jaws, I am so with you on this as an idea. If they asked him to try and navigate this the way to fix it so that this connects with the MCU the way they want. And he was just like, that is not the vision I had for the show. When I came to you and pitched you this long arc, this is what I wanted to do. You said yes. And now you're trying to pivot it because it's going to work well. And I don't want to do this backhanded Pride of X-Men backdoor pilot into a live action story. It's not what I want to do. And maybe that's why he's gone. And if that's the reason that he's gone,
and he probably said, you know what, I'm willing to die on this hill. He died,
and he's gone. And I respect him no matter what, but I would respect that decision. It sucks for us as fans, but it is what it is. It is 100%. What it is. So,
any other notes about the show, about the episode? It was crazy to see Cyclops legit blast Professor X.
Okay, that's the thing I wanted to bring up that Skinny said, are we jumping ahead? That was a crazy moment. Do you feel that was Cyclops giving into his darker side because he's upset with Charles? Because even when Charles was back at the mansion with him and he was just like, I'm sorry, the reason I left it to him was because, and much like I think Madeline, aka Jean at the time, specifically said, he did this to let us go so we could be free of the team. And then Charles said exactly that. He said, I didn't want you to feel like you were beholden to the team. You were the oldest members. You're graduates. You stayed around. I didn't want you to feel like you had to. I wanted you to be able to be free, move on, have a child like Nathan, and live your life. And Cyclops just walked on by. And he was upset. So later when he hits him, Anger? Question mark?
It's either anger or I think it was either a moment of anger or a moment of like maybe is also there's no other way to stop you when you're like, because it's not like he was like in full
he was
taking
full
over
like
his
mind
melding.
He's in the middle of mind controlling Magneto.
You're not going to be like tapping him on the shoulder. Can you please stop, please? You have to probably make it
Professor,
you know, like
Professor. Wait, okay, yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
That could be that too. What's it called? I was surprised though that Cable was able to be controlled by. Not that I'm not surprised that Sinister did it. I'm surprised that Nathan is able to be subjected to it, because if he is as strong as he's supposed to, because he's essentially always using his powers to stop himself. the nanos, right?
Yeah.
If you're that strong, how can you just be like, no? How about no? You're not going to take over my body. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Madeline also needed the boost from Jean as well. So
yeah, I'm wondering if it was the anger, because he is actually angry. That I feel like there's a lot of animosity with Jean Grey, because she survivors guilt or remorse. Like Jean exists, but my mother doesn't. He's always kind of holding that grudge. And then when Sinister takes over his mind, it gives him an opportunity. Even if he's trying to fight it for the greater good, deep down inside, he is genuinely upset that, hey, this isn't my mother. This is a woman that my mother is cloned from. I'm the product of a clone of this woman. She, I kind of hold resentment against her. And then Sinister is unlocking that along with everything else. Do you think Jean... Oh, sorry. I'll let you finish your thought before I ask.
No. It's an independent one. Go. You go.
I was going to ask, do you think Jean is dead?
This is... Okay, so it actually kind of goes with the thing I was going to say.
Perfect.
So Bo at one point in time was like, "Oh, you guys are like so upset about episode 5. Well, what about 8, 9, and 10?" And I'm there like, so far, I'm like, regardless of my bias that we all know,
right.
I am not as upset as that episode so far. I'm not even fucking close.
Valid
because
point.
everything that has happened right now, I'm like, it's a succinct story.
Yeah.
No one has died stupidly. Everyone's actions make sense, and you're tying it to comic books. You're doing it exactly how the first season was.
Yeah.
I was upset about the other one because a lot of people who weren't supposed to die died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, where's that? Give me some of that. I'm piss off other people, because the only other thing. Sorry, let me give 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Is like,
well, not a full 30 seconds, bro.
Well, no, but I complained before. Marvel, you shat on my Shatterstar. You shat on my Deadpool at one point. You shat on my Gambit. Now you're doing it to Wolverine. Hate on someone else's favorite character for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes.
Marvel is like actively taking notes on everyone that Dave has ever said he likes and being
straight
like,
up. This I feel like the bug in my house.
I agree with you. I think what you're saying is very valid with regards to both said we were going to feel even more with 8, 9, 10. And so far with 8, 9, 10, I'm like, with 8, I was just like, all right. And in my head, I was just like, this is the buildup. Cool. Fantastic episode. 9 comes along. I'm just like, if Jean is dead, then I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah. But you left it ambiguous as to what happened. And the stuff that happened to Wolverine, I think, because I know that story, I have that comic book. For me, when I saw that happening, I was kind of just like, oh, wow, they're really doing the thing I already know about. So maybe he meant for people who have never read the comic, that might, like, for them, this is going to be shocking. Because for me, it's not shocking.
It's very... Anyone who's definitely anyone who's a Wolverine fan, but anyone who's even an X-Men fan, it's like, it's very well known that this happens.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know, the only thing I hope that they don't do, only because they've done a really good job of like evening out a lot of people this season about who's getting attention and whatnot.
Yeah.
And and the first like 4 seasons, it was really Wolverine heavy. And like, no, wrong. As a fan, I'm even saying it was like really Wolverine heavy. I don't want the next season to just be him in like the feral state and looks like he has like that
that
pressed up nose face, and then like kind of
animalistic Wolverine.
Yeah, and then because you could only even do that story arc properly if you make him go on his own, and then you have to bring in his clone version of himself, which I believe is Adam, and you have to bring in Cyber, because the whole thing about it is that he's not being hunted by Sabretooth. He's being hunted by this guy Cyber, who's his whole body is adamantium, except
that goes into the like Wolverine's own comic book.
And I would hope that they wouldn't do that. I hope they don't. I'll be honest. I know people love Wolverine. I don't want a Wolverine spinoff show, by the way. Disney, I think you're doing great things. I don't think Wolverine needs his own show.
You have all these characters. Don't do the what's it called?
Batman?
Star Wars thing where it's always like Skywalkers, always about the Skywalker, always about Skywalker.
That's what I'm saying. Don't do the same thing as DC. It's always Batman. Like that's what I'm like. I agree with you. You have so many characters. Use all these other characters.
Like I don't want what you did with Storm with Wolverine next season, where it's like you have this sub story the whole time.
But they've already did that with Wolverine quite a few times in the original series.
Right. You don't need that. Like, you know what I mean?
We've already explored. Wolverine finds his religion again. Wolverine leaves and goes and is with the natives, and then Sabretooth comes and wrecks everybody. He
goes to China. He goes after Morph for the third time, or sorry, it was Japan.
Fights Silver Samurai. Yeah, we've been there.
We've done it. We've gone down that rabbit hole enough times. Don't get me wrong, he's an amazing character. He's legit one of my favorite characters.
Canadian.
He holds it down, but
original short king.
Yes,
exactly.
Original short king.
Wolverine, original short king.
Respect.
But there's a lot of other things. Like even like next season, I would like to see a decent Morph. One that's not him dealing with Sinister. You also have Beast that could, because like Beast got shortchanged a few times in the others.
He's always getting shortchanged.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you. I get it.
I still we just introduced this character named Beast. He's in jail.
Like right away.
He's in jail for all of season 1.
Yeah.
You have next season, it would be cool for them to be setting up like X Factor because I feel that the villain that's going to continue into next season is definitely going to be Sinister.
Oh, really?
I do. Because I think Sinister. I think Apocalypse and Sinister are going to have another thing go down.
Oh, okay. And I was kind of hoping that Sinister would get wrapped up because he's annoying.
Yeah, but
that's the whole point.
I know. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Because if you're you did so much this season at planting the seeds of Sinister, and I get it. Technically, it wasn't even him. It was Bastion the whole time. But I'm just so Sinister is such a sniveling, annoying character that I'm like, and I think I associate him very much to the comic book too, because in the Krakoa storyline, when you meet Sinister that first time, when Myra takes Charles and I think maybe Magneto to meet Sinister to be like, hey, yo, we need you to copy all the mutants and continue your genetic testing and all that stuff. And the Sinister that he talks to is obsessed with Magneto's cape, and he's like, why don't I have a cape? You need a cape. Yes, Lord, you need a cape. And then someone gets shot, another Sinister shows up, and you're like, what is happening? Ooh, can we just talk to one bad guy? Why are there 13 Sinisters in this room, all looking different and acting crazy? What
was a cool Easter egg or a tease I find in this episode, which is with Sinister, when he's fighting Jean, and she's all like, you want me to tell you when I switch the bias? I was like, oh, is everyone get the answer? Nope, you didn't get the answer.
That was good. And also, can we give a nod to his fighting style? Because he was out here doing a little bit of the Cyclops slide. Remember, there's times where he's sliding backwards and he's just dodging, and I'm like, what is Sinister made out of that he can turn into liquid, be solid, slide on the ground, fly over here, jump over this? I was just like, I get it. He augmented himself, but this motherfucker out here being like Superman mixed with Venom, it was
John
a
Jones.
weird thing. Yeah, true. John Jones. Fuck shit. Yeah, that's a better version of that. John Jones, yes. More pretending to be Sinister for Bastion.
That was good.
Fantastic.
That was
because
great.
Bastion's just like, oh, buddy, know your role. Sinister would never
Like,
try and save anyone but himself.
You were fake the second you started running into your complaining about other people. Like, what do you think?
You're trying to help me? No, Sinister wouldn't try and help me. You're obviously not him. Boom. That was great. That was so good. But I think that was a solid episode. I look forward to the next one. But again, I do agree with you. That to me, we're not even getting close to hitting the level of episode 5. Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm curious because it's so weird because there's so many angles not touched for one episode left. Like, for example, you're gonna have to conclude Sinister in some case, shape, or form, or you have to conclude or continue Sinister in some shape or form just because he's there.
Yeah,
Bastion's really on the side right now. Like, there was no real, other than getting into the same vicinity of him, that wasn't touched at all. You're gonna have to figure out what's going on with Magneto and everybody up there.
Yeah,
Wolverine, and at the end of the day, I mean, Cable came back because Apocalypse and stuff. They've shown a lot all season for the last 5 episodes. They've shown in the intro Apocalypse.
Yes,
I mean that has to come somewhere because they've not.
They might be Rick and Mortying us, where they're showing us this one thing, and it's like 4 or 5 seasons later, we still haven't seen that alien trying to eat the ship, chasing after.
Because the only other thing that's been kind of irking me, and again, only because I'm a fan, Gambit's still technically not fully removed from the intro.
Gambit's not.
He's still in the Blackbird, and he's still in the lineup of people who are running. Now, again, it could just be nods.
Yeah, because they didn't change the lineup. Yeah.
But then I'm like, what's going on? Like, is because again, for me, it's just that so far they've done nothing without purpose.
Yeah, agreed. And they didn't add Nightcrawler to the lineup.
Like I thought, because when they're running,
right, yeah.
When they're running across the screen, yes, he's removed, and then there's Gambit. But like, I thought he'd be replaced in the Bird, in the Blackbird. I thought he'd be replaced in the running.
No, you're not wrong. I fully understand, because like we said, when we watched the first 2 intros, and I think maybe in the 3rd intro, we all got the idea of like, oh, y'all are using the intros to nod and give us hints about what's going on.
But did you hear about the intro where there's 3 humans that are running away from the Sentinels towards the camera, and all those 3 humans
are Sentinels? Yeah.
That's insane.
No, I mean, that if anything, that adds more credence to what Dave is saying. They are hinting at stuff in those intros. So if Gambit's still there, what are you hinting at? I agree. Hey man, I said it.
I mean,
Gambit's dead, but
it can only be bad. Like, I don't want Gambit to be dead, and then Sinister's like, "Hey, you come back," and it's like, no.
But that's my. I am hoping, and again,
I mean, I feel like not even hoping though. We all know no one dies in comic books. They always come back.
The thing is, he doesn't need to be a clone. If Apocalypse comes back, he needs a new horseman.
There you go.
Gambit is a horseman. He is death. They could literally take his body, revive him, make him that, and then we're freeing him, and then he becomes Gambit again.
I'm sure. I mean,
that's technically what happened. Well, sorry, minus the dying. That's technically what happens in the comics.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to write it for me to say whether or not I think that's a good idea, because I'm wondering, like, if you do that, why would you take someone who's dead to make them dead? Because like you said, in the comic book, he's not dead. So I come back, I'm Apocalypse, I take the guy who died on Genosha. Like, I don't see why.
Because imagine it's to fuck with the X-Men.
Yeah.
Oh, to attack them with one of their own,
Rogue.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day,
exactly. How do you neutralize their Superman?
You saw it with Batman, Jason Todd. That's what Jason Todd coming back is something that really fucks with Bruce. So
because it's Archangel, Wolverine, Gambit, and Caliban. Those are all the main deaths that Apocalypse has. Other than like kind of no names, from my memory, I don't think I'm missing anyone important.
That's something I don't remember Apocalypse's Horseman very well. So
no, I only figured it out because I remember Wolverine was Horseman once, and because I researched the Wolverine, I found out about the Gambit. I was like, what? Because Gambit turns into like black. Because that's the thing, when Gambit turns into death, he actually looks kind of like a corpse. His hair's all white, his skin's all black, so it's like,
oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds
I mean,
very-
being death isn't like, hey guys, look at me. It's
Yeah,
that's fair.
you're not winning.
I mean, I just when I saw Archangel when he was dead didn't look horrible. He looked actually pretty badass.
Well, I mean,
Like-
he was blue.
Yeah, but he had those fucking beautiful metallic wings and like
Yeah,
his
I mean,
outfit
like
was
I'm pretty sure he was very vain. It's like, oh man, look at my beautiful, angel wings. My name is Angel, haha. And then it's like Archangel. Wait, what?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm all blue. I'm a freak.
Oh, he definitely did not process that well. He
No,
definitely
he was like, I'm a freak. I got metal wings that just cut through everything. Like I can't even get into my fancy car anymore.
he was an emotional mess.
I'm gonna kill
I can
Apocalypse.
acknowledge
And
that.
Apocalypse is like, yeah, come kill me.
We didn't have a chance to because I mean I think we're finished with X-Men.
yeah.
Jaws, did you still want to hit your topic that you had? No? All right. Okay. I wanted to tell people about, like I said, Tales of the Empire. I watched all 6 episodes one sitting. The episodes are very short. We got a really cool story with Morgan Elsbeth, who is in the last season in Ahsoka, the live action, and that was a really cool intro to her story and where she came from that I really, really enjoyed. I actually thought that was really well done because when you meet her in Ahsoka, you're kind of just like, this bitch. I don't get me wrong. She's cool, but she's ultimately a horrible person that made me so mad when I was watching the show, and I didn't even understand her reasons for wanting to do any of the things she was doing because she's just so angry with everything that's happening, and I didn't understand why she's this angry. And when you watch this, it fully fills you in on like, oh, you're this mad because this happened to you when you were a child. This happened to you when you tried to work with people, because she tries to go to the Empire. She tries to show them a better way to do things, more efficient way to do things. And essentially they get there and they're just like, oh, by the way, we don't want to use your plans and we're going to take all the resources from your planet. You're pretty much fucked. And it's just like, but I came here to work with you. I'm not trying to be your enemy. I'm trying to be your ally. Yes, we heard everything you said. Your plans don't interest us, but all the resources on your planet do. We're going to show up in about a week. Be ready. And then Thrawn shows up and Thrawn's just like, hey, yo, you seem badass. I like what you're doing. Here's a fleet. You now work with me. And you're like, all right, okay, sure. That makes sense. And then when you meet her in Ahsoka, you're like, okay, now I understand why you're the way you are. You tried to work with the Empire, even though they're evil. You are equally an evil person. You took advantage of the people on the planet that you run. And ultimately, you feel a debt owed to Thrawn because he essentially gave you all the power you have.
Right.
And then you got the story, the continuation from Clone Wars for Barriss Offee. Offee? Am I pronouncing that right? Offee?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Your guess is better than mine.
But yeah, you get her continuation from when she's kind of disenfranchised with the Jedi early, and she gets put in prison for life. And then when Order 66 comes out, they recruit her to be a Inquisitor. And then it's the story of her being an Inquisitor and not liking what the Inquisitors are doing because they're hunting Jedis. And when they find a Jedi, she's trying to recruit them to be like, hey, the Order of the Jedis was a mess. They were bad people. You should work with us. We can start a new order. And then the people that she's working with, the other Inquisitors, are just like, nope, and just killing the Jedi. So she's just like, I don't want to work with you guys. You're why are you murdering these people? We should be recruiting them to start our own thing. And then she essentially leaves, and it's great. Like honestly, those 6 episodes went really fast, but and I didn't speed them up for once.
You let it breathe. You let it breathe.
But again, I watched them all back to back. So
wow.
And for this show, did you ever watch, what was it, The Tales of the Jedi? I think it's also.
I did. Yes, great show.
Is it very
the
much in the
one?
same vein? No. There's another 3D animated one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's like it looks like is it in the same vein as that? As
same
this?
exact thing. It's mini stories. They're essentially just filling in the lore in spots where fans might find something interesting. Like the Barriss story is very much what happened to someone who already didn't like the Jedi, but it was a Jedi after Order 66. How come? So they don't get killed because they're not a Jedi? Cool.
Because
but what happens to them?
Because doesn't she make an appearance in Clone Wars and she betrays them?
Yes.
With her.
So this is her story after Clone Wars.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. In Clone Wars, she ends up in prison.
Because is it the pupil or is it the master that's the baggage?
It's a pupil. It's the pupil that was, yeah. And in this, it's the story of what happens to her after she's been in prison, because she's in prison for life. She's never going to be released. But when the Jedi Order falls and the Inquisitors come in, and her old master even shows up and is just like, "Hey, it's all good now. You're free to go." And then they recruit her into the Inquisitors, and her last thing with the Inquisitors, in the training for the Inquisitors, is she has to kill the guy that she was training with. And you're like, oh, okay. And she was still okay with everything up on to that point. That's why I was confused when they're killing the Jedi. I'm just like, girl, they made you kill the guy you trained with and told you there's only one spot, a la Joker in The Dark Knight. Like, why are you all of a sudden confused by them killing Jedi in the streets? They didn't even want to keep the guy that you trained with, who was going to be an Inquisitor, on your side. You think they're going to try and keep the dudes that they're on the streets trying to kill? No, what's wrong with you? So that was a little confusing.
Order 66 nonetheless, right? Like, still, it's in the.
Yeah. Seriously, girl, it's in the name. Like, they were doing it.
Like we were born from this. Like,
Like you thought you were hunting the Jedi to give them a hug and a blanket?
No, we're gonna revive them. That was just all a test to see which ones are the strongest ones.
Yeah. Like it was really interesting because you see this character who at the end of their journey is like, oh man, I was wrong the whole time. And you're like, I mean, yeah, you were wrong. It happens. Are you guys excited for the Acolyte? Because the Acolyte trailer, the official trailer came out. I think.
Which one's that about again?
The Acolyte is set at the beginning in like the Old Republic, and it's like the first time the Jedi are being faced with something they don't understand because someone is hunting and killing Jedis, and they're just like, "Who the fuck is killing us? We're peacekeeping order of Jedis."
It's live action, that one, right?
Yes, live action. The Acolyte, and it has Daphne in it, our girl from X-23 from Logan.
The funny thing is, I find that to a certain degree, because people are always saying the superhero burnout or whatever.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm feeling a little bit of the Star Wars burnout.
Oh, interesting.
It's a lot.
Okay. I mean, yeah, there is a lot. That's
because,
fair.
like, don't get me wrong. At least they're doing it through shows, so you don't have to choose. You could choose not to watch it. It's not like, and all the shows are relatively independent of each other. Like you don't need most of the shows. You didn't need to watch, like, you didn't need to watch something to watch Mandalorian. You didn't need to watch something to Boba Fett. Yeah, you need to know what happened to Boba Fett to be able to watch. But that's if you like Star Wars, as much as you need to know, because you need to watch the first like 2.5 movies or whatever.
Right.
Like the episode 5 and 6. But like I find they've done a good job of like making things like it's like Ahsoka, right? Like you could have watched Clone Wars, you could have watched Rebels. Did you need to? No. If you did, would have it made it better? Yes. But did you need to watch it? No, because they did a very good job of saying, what is going on? There is someone that is missing. I am trying to find him.
And I would say the best show for that is Andor, because Andor doesn't give a fuck about the rest of the Star Wars universe.
And the funny thing, that's the one that I have not watched at all.
Oh man, you don't need to know shit for Andor. Andor is fully, in my opinion, one of the best self-sustaining Star Wars-based stories, because all you know is this dude is a freedom fighter and is not down for isn't down for what's happening. And I'm pretty sure it's before Rogue One. So it's the story of that character before you get to Rogue One.
Yeah. But I think the only reason why I was turned off about that one is because although I know it's the start of the Rebels.
Right. Yeah.
And then I'm like, already Rogue One was a little bit like, you know, I know exactly what's going to happen at the end of this.
Hey man,
And now you kind of get to the end. Like, so it's a little bit the same thing.
I love Rogue One. Rogue One to me,
I enjoyed
is
it for what
best,
it was.
Yeah, it's the best of those new movies, and
but
and it was smart of them to be like, what's the one thing we could do that would really push us over the edge? Having Darth Vader show up and slicing through everything on his way to that ship was one of the perfect cherries on the top, because the movie is really good, and then you tied it in just enough for us to all be like, bong, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
But I think I'd be more interested about Acolyte than Skeleton Crew.
All right, cool.
But again, you never know. You don't know which ones you're gonna end up with. Because example, I've been meaning to watch the Tales of the Jedi there, but I've just never had the chance to. You know, like sometimes you end up revisiting things later.
Yeah.
But
but
that's the good thing about the Star Wars, though. You don't need Marvel. I find if you miss something.
Well, Marvel's basing it on a comic book structure. You have to kind of read stuff to know what's going on.
You know, whereas like
isn't doing that. Yeah,
they're doing a good job of that at least.
Yeah. And with that, that's the end of the show, guys. That's it. We didn't have any news. We had a little bit. Well, we did have headlines, right? We had two headlines. Microsoft closes Redfall developer Arcane Austin. Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango at Bethesda. Which is what people expected. People were
again, like
they bought them.
Well, again, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, we're gonna do a big merger. You better not fire anybody. And it's like, don't worry, we're just gonna keep everything as is. Blah, blah,
and then
blah,
immediately they did.
And I mean, we had a recession and everything going on. And also I think with Redfall, they did not tell Arcane. Arcane was like, we're expecting them to tell us to cancel this game. And they're like, no, you guys keep doing what you do. We're not going to look at it. Please end this game. It's really bad.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then Nintendo. Yeah, no, honestly, it is. We talked about that at the beginning of last episode, where there's a lot of burnout in those fields, and it's a very unfortunate. So it really does suck when things hit the fan and they're just like, all right, you guys are all being laid off, because they already burn those people out when they make these games. So it is, heart goes out to those guys, and hopefully they all start their own independent studios and make some bomb ass fucking games and take over the fucking industry. Nintendo finally admits it's making the Switch 2. We will make an announcement about the successor to Nintendo Switch within this fiscal year, which is pretty big news for all you gaming geeks out there.
But announcement is like such a vague term.
Well, they never said we're going to make it, but now they're like acknowledging that everything else has just been rumors.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, we're going to work on it. We're working on it, but we're going to tell you a little bit more. I think their fiscal year is a little bit different because they're in Japan and they do it a different way. So I can't remember what time that's supposed to be coming out.
But I mean, all I'm trying to say is like them saying that it's like it could still be 2 or 3 years from now that
for sure. Like, but like Jaws is saying, at least they're acknowledging it, as opposed to us all just saying like, are you going to do it? And them just being like, you'll never know. Like,
and just a lot of speculation, a lot of like, oh, I heard it's going to be like this, and it's going to be like just we're hearing a lot of rumors and a lot of people leaks.
I'd rather just hear it from them. Yeah. All right, guys, that's the whole show. It was a blast. Another crazy one. I think no one said rich people are smart. There's a reason they call them the 1%, because that's what they get on math tests. Funny. Fantastic. Love it. And we'll be back with another one next week. You guys make sure to tune in on Saturdays. Also, we play throwback episodes on our Twitch. That's twitch.tv/GeekCypher, GeekCypha. And we are out. Peace, y'all.
Peace.